This program was made possible by the Meridian Foundation and Friends of the Library through gifts to the Indianapolis Public Library Foundation. Welcome to the Indianapolis Public Library. Today, I will be showing you how to search Foundation Directory Online, or FDO for short. FDO allows nonprofit organizations a quick and easy way to search for grants. There are different types of grant makers that you can search, for example, private foundations, corporate giving programs, or public charities. FDO provides access to in-depth profiles for these grant makers. The profiles have trend charts outlining their giving history. There is also information about the application process, including giving limitations and important deadlines, so that you will know which grant makers will fund your type of work and when and how to apply for funding. With the information available on FDO, you will be able to write winning grant proposals. In today's tutorial, I will show you how to perform a basic search, as well as how to modify your search using the advanced search and filters options. We will make sure our results match our search terms and that we are not getting too few results or too many. Next, we will look at the information that is included in the grant maker profile to evaluate our results. You can check a prospect's giving history and find answers to your questions, such as, what type of project do they prioritize? Do they limit their funding to certain geographical areas? Or are there other giving limitations? Who are the individuals on the board or on staff that you may have connections to? And lastly, we will look at ways of saving your search results. You can either download the list of grant makers or the more lengthy, in-depth grant maker profiles onto your computer or flash drive. Or if you prefer, email them to yourself or colleagues. Let me show you how to access FDO Essential from the Indianapolis Public Library's website. From the home page, indpl.org, click on the research link at the top right-hand side of your screen. Scroll down and you will see a list of categories. Each category is listed alphabetically and contains links to databases that are available to you as an Indianapolis Public Library user. For today's tutorial, I will click on the Business and Nonprofit category. The databases are listed alphabetically. Scroll down to see the FDO products. The Essential version allows for remote access, meaning you can use it from computers outside of the library. During COVID-19 restrictions and social distancing guidelines, library users can now access FDO Essential from home. However, FDO Essential does not have all of the capabilities of FDO's professional version. The professional version is available only at Central Library. There is a special workstation designated for nonprofit use on the 4th floor. However, you can use any Central Library computer or on your own laptop while you are in the building. If you plan on coming to Central Library, please check current COVID-19 guidelines for opening. There can be unexpected closures due to COVID-19. This tutorial will be covering the Essential version. The Essential version has access to more than 100,000 grant maker profiles and searchable 990 tax forms, so you can see what foundations have given grants and how much those grants were for. FDO continuously adds to their profiles and updates daily. You can always check to see when the last time a profile has been updated. Let's click on the FDO Essential version. In March of 2021, Candid changed the way library users can access FDO Essential. You will still be able to access FDO Essential remotely. However, you will now need to create an account to request a 24-hour day pass. In order to create an account, you will need to supply an email address. FDO will send a link to a 24-hour pass to that email account. Once you click that link, it will direct you to a page to create an account. You will need to enter a password, your name, organization, as well as a field of interest. Once it lets you in to FDO, this pass is good for 24 consecutive hours. Once your time expires, you will need to wait 30 days before you can request another 24-hour pass. Let's enter an email address to create an account. Click Next. You will notice that it's asking you to check your email for that confirmation link. You can go to your email account and you can see the email is from Foundation Directory Online. You can click on this link to continue with your registration. The link is valid for 30 minutes. When you click that link, it takes you to your registration page. Your email address displays at the top. You will need to create a password. You must confirm that password. Enter your name and organization. As well as a field of interest. I will select education. Scroll down and you must check the I agree to these terms and conditions. You can also check if you would like to receive periodic emails on product updates and fundraising tips. Next, click Go to FDO Essential. It takes you to the Foundation Directory Online homepage. It welcomes you. You can simply click on that End Tour just to remove that window from the page. During your 24-hour window, a clock at the top of your screen tells you how much time you have left. When the time runs out, you can log back in for another 24-hour pass after 30 days. Let's explore the FDO homepage. You will notice at the top right-hand side of the page, it recognizes you as a user. Your name displays there. There's also a Help drop-down where you can access the FDO guide and FAQs. Let's scroll down and you'll notice that there is a section for current RFPs that match the field of interest that you selected in your registration. Further down the page, you can watch videos as well as read a blog that highlights new features and tips for using FDO, as well as suggestions for nonprofit organizations. You may also notice there is a section related to foundation funding, which is related to your field of interest. You can see here, that's education in the United States. Before you do a search in FDO, it's a good idea to have an understanding of your organization's mission and specific details of your work. You might ask yourself, what is your project? Where is your work taking place? Who will benefit from your project? Is it targeting a specific population or will it benefit everyone? Is there something unique that you are offering compared to other nonprofit programs? Are there certain grant amounts you need to fund for your project? These are things to consider before searching FDO. You may want to brainstorm different ways of describing your work. This is especially important now because your remote day pass is only good for 24 hours every 30 days. Scroll up to the top of the page. Let's start with the first part of this tutorial, searching FDO. In the search box, you can perform what's called a natural language search. This means you type into the box words that describe your project and where that work is being done. FDO then will translate those terms into ones it has in its index. Currently, there are about 1,100 index terms. Let's say your organization wants to offer programming for college readiness in Indiana. Type those terms into the search box. And then click the blue search button. Let's take a look at our search results. You will notice below that there are 1,013 grant makers that match our search terms and 3,678 990 tax forms. If you scroll further down, you can see a list of the top 5 search results, and they are sorted by grant count, so the number of grants that were given based on your criteria. If you scroll further down the page, you can see a list of tax forms, 990 tax forms, in alphabetical order by the foundation. We'll be looking at these a little bit later. For now, I'd like to call your attention to our search. Scroll back up to the top of the page. Let's say that we wanted to change Indiana to Indianapolis. Let's try that. Simply click the blue search button, and you'll notice that our search results have been cut more than half. We now have 315 grant makers, and the top 5 results also change. When you change search terms, add terms, remove terms, most often it will change the number of results as well as which grantmaker profiles match your criteria. You may need to broaden your search if you are not getting a lot of search results, or you may need to narrow your search if you're getting too many. Let's scroll back up to the top of the page. FDO has taken our search terms, college readiness, Indianapolis, and translated those terms into the index terms. You can see those listed above the search box. College preparation, higher education, elementary and secondary education, agroecology, program support, student aid, Indianapolis, which is our geographic focus, and students. Now let's take a look at how we can edit our search by using the advanced search and filters available in FDO. You can either click the edit link or the advanced search and filters link. Let's take a look at the first 3 fields: subject area, geographic focus, and population served. Subject area, if you click on that heading, will give you a drop-down menu of the different index terms that are available for you to use. If you notice a drop-down arrow next to one of these terms, so for example education, and you click it, you can actually see additional terms. Some of those have been checked for us. Geographic focus, this is actually where the work is taking place. So if your project is specifically for Indianapolis, that's what you'll put here. However, you can search by country, region, state, county, city, even congressional district. Population served refers to who will benefit from your project. And if you click on population served, you can see more index terms that are available for you to use. So let's say that your program is targeting at-risk youth. If you scroll down and click on social and economic status, you can see that's one of the targeted populations. If you scroll further down, there's other options as well. As I mentioned, there are about 1,100 index terms you can use. You can think of index terms in a database the same way you would think about subject headings in a library's catalog. Having index terms should yield more targeted results. All right, let's go down the page a little bit more, and you can see the next three fields: organization name, if you were looking for a specific foundation. Location is actually where that foundation is located, not where the work is being done. And who's who, which allows you to search for a specific person within that organization. We also have some additional filters, and if you click that link, we have some more options below. Support strategy. If you click on the heading, it gives you different examples of funding for different types of projects. Transaction type. You click there, you can see that there might be other ways of receiving your funding. And organization type. This might be beneficial if you're looking for something very specific, like government grants. You'll also notice that we have grant amount and years. Let's say that we were looking for grants that were between $25,000 and $50,000. We can make that adjustment here by simply clicking inside these boxes, and making the change. You can also specify when an organization gave funding. So for example, maybe you only want to see grants that were given in the last 5 years. You can either type that in, or you can even move these guideposts. So let's just change this to 2016. Let's click the blue search button and see how that has affected our results. If we scroll down, we are now down to 33 grant makers. At any point, you can modify your search terms. Notice, if we scroll back up to the top, it's added years from 2016 to 2021, as well as the grant amount that we're searching for, between $25,000 and $50,000. Are there any search terms here that don't really match our project? Well, agroecology is one, and if we click the X next to agroecology and scroll down, we can see if that's had any impact, and it hasn't. We're still at 33. But it's always worth noting that when you modify your criteria, it will have an effect on your search results. So for example, if we were to remove years from 2016 to 2021 and the grant amount, if we were to X those out, our list would go back up to 315. We'll just keep this for now. This is kind of a nice small number to work with. Let me mention a few other things to you. You don't necessarily have to fill in all of the information. So this is just, doing a search for a project, but you might have other times when you just want to search by organization name, or somebody told you a lead or a contact of somebody who you might want to reach out to. You can just simply click who's who and type that person's name in. Or you might have, let's say you're just doing work with veterans and you just want to see what types of programs are available to veterans in your area. You could leave subject area blank, simply type in Indianapolis, select veterans as your population served to get a nice overview of everything that's being offered. So you have a lot of options for searching with FDO. Is there anything I haven't covered? Okay, down here we've got EIN, which is the employer identification number. If you need to, you can search by that. Keyword searching allows you to type in a specific term and it will only turn up results that have that word or phrase. So it can be extremely limiting. Okay, let's move on to the second part of this tutorial, which is taking a look at our search results. If you scroll down, you'll notice it displays the top 5, but if you click on the View All button, it will give you that list of 33 grant makers that match our criteria. Right now, this list is sorted by grant count. So that's what grants have been given to projects like yours. It matches your search terms. And then the amount funded is related to those grants. If you take a look at the next two headings, total assets and total giving, that will show you how much that foundation is giving overall and what their assets are. So it's not related to your criteria. If you hover over one of the names of these particular grant makers, it gives you just a quick overview of what types of projects they support, how many grants they award, any links to news articles. And you can actually change the way your results display. So as I mentioned, they're sorted by grant count, but if you wanted to arrange them by city, you can just click on a heading, scroll down, and now it's changed your results. I think it's got it in backwards order. Let me click city again. And now it's in alphabetical order. When we go back to grant count, and that will be the original way that it's displayed. Now let's take a look at one of our in-depth grant maker profiles. The Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust is number 4 on our list, and if we click on that entry, it will take us to the in-depth grant maker profile. At the top of the page, it will tell you when this profile was last updated, and that's December 9th of 2020. It also indicates that the grant information was last updated January 5th of 2021. If you move your mouse over the eGrant Reporter logo, it will display what that means. eGrant reporters are organizations that will voluntarily report their grant awards directly to the Foundation Center, so this provides the most up-to-date information. Below that, you have the name, the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust, where they're located, Indianapolis, a website, a link to the people within that organization, as well as their contact information. If you scroll down, you'll see the trend charts. What's great about FDO is that it has a history of giving, meaning you are not just looking at 1 year of data, but several years worth of data about what areas they fund, where does the funding go, and what amounts of grant funding they provide. This is invaluable information because, as they say, past giving can be a good predictor of future giving. Let's evaluate how good a fit this is. If we are currently working on a project for college readiness in Indianapolis, we can see that education is in their top 3. So although it might not necessarily be the top priority, it does fall within their top 3 interests. If you move your mouse, you can see over to the map that Indiana receives a large portion of their grants, and it gives you the number of grants that were awarded, the number of recipients, and the total amount funded. And then over to the right, it tells you how much those grants were for. So primarily they give in the $100,000 to $500,000 range, but they also give smaller grant amounts as well. Let's scroll down. On the left-hand side, a navigation bar will appear. And if you click any of these headings in the navigation bar, it will take you to that section. But why don't we just go through this in order? The funding interest is the first heading, and this section will provide a complete list of index terms that's related to this foundation's giving history. If you click the View All button, or link, you can get a better idea of projects this funder gives to. The next section is the About section, which gives background information about the history of this foundation, their mission, and what program areas they support. So, for this particular organization, you can see that they especially help people in need, women, children, families, animals, nature, and any programs that enrich the community life, specifically in Indianapolis and Phoenix. If you click background, you can get more information about this funder and when they were established, what their mission is, and program areas gives more detailed information. If you scroll down, the next section is other funders to consider. This is actually based on an algorithm. It's worth checking these out because these foundations may fund similar projects. The next section is applications and RFPs. This is a very detailed entry for the application process. Some may not provide this level of information. You can see instructions for submitting a proposal, as well as deadlines and how to approach this organization and how to submit your application. If there are giving limitations, you can see those too. This funder only gives to Arizona and Indiana. The financial section allows you to see an organization's 990s. You can specify a particular year and then just click go. It opens up a tab and you can actually see the 990 for that particular year. We'll close out of that to return to our grantmaker profile. If you scroll down, the Who's Who section will list officers as well as staff. This is a good way to see if you know someone in this organization who may be able to make an introduction for you. Some organizations do not accept unsolicited proposals, meaning you will need to network. The communication section is next. Here you can see a list of different articles. Some are local, like Inside Indiana Business. Others are more national news outlets. There are about a half a dozen here related to the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust. Farther down the page, there's actually some communication from their website. And if you click on the grants list, it takes you to their website and specifically to a page all about the grant awards for 2020. You can see who received those grants, a description of the project, and how much funding they received. And there are a lot of grants that were given in 2020. All right, we'll click on the X to return to our grantmaker profile. The last thing I like to point out is simply the contact information at the bottom, and it's typical address, phone number, email, and website if they have one. That leads us to the last part of this tutorial, which is saving and emailing your search results. You can scroll back up to the top of the page, or you can click the back to top link. And now we're back at the top of this in-depth grantmaker profile. There are a few tools that are available to you. Let me call your attention to those. You can download this as a PDF onto your computer or flash drive if you wanted to save it for later. Or there's an email option, and if you click the envelope icon, you can email this particular profile to a teammate or a colleague. All you have to do is plug in an email address. It already has your name and email address since you created the account. You can simply click on continue. It prepares that PDF and it will send the email. That just takes a moment, and now your email has been sent. Let's click on close. All right, let's take a look at our grantmaker search results. If you click that link at the top of the page, this will take us back to that list of 33 grant makers. You may want to actually just save the entire list. We only have 33 here, and if you click on the box next to Grantmaker, it selects all of those, and you have the same options if you scroll up. You can save this as a PDF, and it just gives you this kind of limited information about their name, location, assets. You can also email it, or there's another option. You can download this as a CSV file, and this means that it will open up in a program such as Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, so some sort of spreadsheet application. Okay, let me just mention to you that if you are going to be saving a list like this one, it limits you to 100 per list. So here it wouldn't matter because we only have 33, but let's say we had more grant makers that came up in our list. You would have to save or email 100 at a time. So you'd have to do those in individual batches. In terms of the grant maker profiles, you can save up to 10 of those. So let me show you that. Let's say that you wanted to just save the top 5, and you wanted to save those in-depth grant maker profiles. You can just check what you're interested in. You can click on, let's just do PDF. It asks you, do you want to just save the list or the profiles? We'll just click on profiles. It prepares that PDF, and then you can save it to your computer. And now your PDF is ready to save. We'll close out of that. Okay. The last thing I want to call your attention to in this tutorial, if you scroll back up to the top of your page and click on the Find Funding, that's going to take you back to our home page. You'll notice that our day pass time will indicate how many hours you have remaining and when that pass expires. So this will always appear from the home page. So as you're doing your search, you're not going to notice it, but if you wanted to see where you are with time, you'd have to come back to this main page to see that. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial of FDO Essential. If you have questions, please feel free to call the reference desk at Central Library, and we can put you in contact with a librarian who is on the nonprofit team. Thanks for being with us today.